Hello, this is Shay Jackson with Hype Math and Reading. In today's video, we will be reviewing for the 2022 Texas STAAR Math Test for 4th graders. Our concept is converting fractions and decimals. This is part 3. Remember, 4th graders, if you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. Our 4th grade STAAR Math and Reading Review workbooks are available for purchase in our store. The link is in the description box so that you can grab yours today. Do you need a math or reading tutor? We offer virtual one-on-one and group tutoring for 2nd to 8th grade students. Parents, the link will be in the description box so that you can request a free 30-minute consultation. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell, and press the like button so that you will be notified of videos that we upload, and also to spread the word about Hype Math and Reading. We greatly appreciate your support. Let's talk about how to convert fractions to decimals. If a fraction has a denominator of 10, 100, or 1000, these are the steps we should take. Step 1, write the numerator as a whole number. And step 2, move the decimal point to the left by the number of zeros. So let's take a look at our examples. For our top example, it is 8/10. Looking at the 10, we see that there's only 1 0, so that is how many places I need to move to the left. 1. I'm going to write my numerator down, which is 8, and I'm going to move my decimal point 1 place to the left. For whole numbers, the decimal point is right behind the whole number. We just usually don't write it. So once it is moved, my answer is 0.8. Now, let's look at our second example. It's 8/100. We have 2 zeros in the denominator, so we need to move our decimal point 2 places to the left. We're going to write our numerator, which is 8 again, and we are going to move our decimal point 2 places to the left. Now, when we're moving 2 places to the left, we'll have an empty space because we move for that second curve that we have. And what we're going to do is put a 0. So 8/100 is in decimal point form 0.08. Now let's see how we convert decimals to fractions. Our first step is underlining the last digit and identify its place value. That place value becomes the denominator. Step 2, we're going to remove the decimal from the number. This is our numerator. So let's look at our examples. We have convert 0.4 or 4/10 to a fraction. Step 1, we're going to underline the last digit. We have that 4. On the place value chart, you see that it would be in the tenths place. That will become our denominator. We're going to remove that decimal and our number becomes the numerator. So 4/10 or 4/10 is the fraction for 0.4. Now let's convert 32/100 or 0.32 to a fraction. Following step 1, we are going to underline our last digit, and looking at the place value chart, we see that the 2 is in the hundreds place. That will be our denominator. We have 100. Now we're going to remove our decimal and we're going to write our number in the numerator. So 0.32 is the same as 32/100. Now let's look at our last example, and I again forgot to put in the 0. So we're going to convert 1 69/100 to a fraction, 1.69. So step 1, we are going to underline the last digit, that is the 9. In looking at the place value chart, we see that that is the hundredths place. So 100 is our denominator. We have our whole number 1. Since it's a mixed number, that whole number is going to stay the same. And then for our 69.69, we are going to drop the decimal and put that in our numerator. So 1.69 or 1 69 hundredths is 1 over 69 over 100. Let me say that again. 1 69 over 100. Now let's dive into our problems. And again, the link for the workbook is in our description box so that you can grab one today. Number 15 says, in science class, Douglas measured the mass of a rock in kilograms. The mass of the rock was 26 hundredths kg or kilograms. Which fraction is equivalent to this number? Is it F, 26 over 100, G, 26 over 10, H, 2 and 6 over 100, or J, 2 and 1 over 6? The first important question we need to ask ourselves is, what are we looking for? We are looking for the fraction equivalent to 26 hundredths or 0.26. Our second important question is, what information can help find the answer? The information that can help find the answer is us converting 0.26 to a fraction. Well, how do we do that? We are going to follow the steps that we talked about in the beginning. Step 1, we're going to underline the last digit and identify its place value. That place value becomes the denominator. And then step 2, we're going to remove the decimal from the number. That is going to be the numerator. So let's go through each step. So our decimal again is 0.26. We're going to underline the last digit, and that's our 6. Looking at our place value chart, the 6 is in the hundredths place, so that is going to be our denominator, 100. Now, the step 2 is we're going to drop our decimal and write the number in our numerator. So 26 over 100 is the fraction for, or the equivalent fraction for 0.26 or 26 hundredths. So let's look at our answer choices to see what is the correct answer. Do you see it? If you said F, you're absolutely correct. 26 over 100 is the correct answer. So let's move to our next question. Mrs. Briones has a pitcher that contains 3 75 hundredths quarts of lemonade. Which decimal is equivalent to this number? Is it A, 3.075? Is it B, 3.75? C, 0.375? Or D, 375? What's our important question? What are we looking for? We are looking for the decimal equivalent to 3 75 hundredths. Now that we know that, our next question is, what information can help us find the answer? We know that we need to convert 3 75 hundredths to a decimal. So how do we solve the problem? Again, following the steps we talked about in the beginning. Step 1, we're going to write the numerator as a whole number. And step 2, move the decimal point to the left by the number of zeros. So let's dive in and do that now. Step 1, we said we need to write the numerator as a whole number, and that's what we did. And you see we have 3 as a whole number as well, so we write that as well, 375. And then step 2, what we're going to do is move our decimal point 2 places to the left. Why is that? Because we have 2 zeros in our denominator. So again, in a whole number, the decimal point is right there to the right-hand side. We just don't write it. But now we need to, in order to see how we need to move our decimal point, we are going to move it 2 places to the right. We're going to move our decimal point 2 places to the left, and that will make it 3.75. So what is our correct answer? Let's look at our answer choices to see which answer shows 3.75. Can you see it? If you said B, you're absolutely correct. B is our correct answer. Now let's move to number 17. Which equation shows an equivalent decimal and fraction? Oh, we got this because we know how to do both. Is it F, 12.09 is equal to 12 and 9/10? Is it G, 12.09 is equal to 12 and 9 over 100 or 9/100? Is it H, 12.90 is equal to 12 and 1 over 90? Or J, 12.90 is equal to 12 and 90/10? What's our most important question? What are we looking for? We are looking for the equation that shows an equivalent decimal and fraction. So our second important question is, well, what information can help us find the answer? The best way to solve this problem is to look at our decimal points. So if you notice, for the answer choices, we have 12.09 and also 12.90. Since those are the 2 decimals we have, it's easier to just convert those to fractions. So how do we solve the problem? Well, we're going to solve the problem just like we talked about before in converting decimals to fractions. Number 1, we're going to underline the last digit and identify its place. That place value becomes the denominator. And then step 2, remove the decimal from the number. That is our numerator. So let's dive in. Step 1, we are going to underline the last digit and identify its place value. So for 12.09 and also for 12.90, we see that both numbers are in the hundredths place, okay? So now that we know it's in the hundredths place, that means 100 will be in our denominator. So now that we know that 100 will be in our denominator, the next thing we need to do is drop the decimal point and write our number in the numerator. So for 12.09, we have 12 and 9 over 100. We really, even though there's a 0 right in front of the 9 for our decimal, we really don't need to write it because it's just 9. Okay, and then for 12.90, that would equal 12 and 90 over 100. So let's look at our answer choices and compare each decimal to see if we can discover the correct answer. Again, let's look at our answer choices. We have F is equal to 12.09 is equal to 12 and 9/10. G, 12.09 is equal to 12 and 9/100. H is 12.90 equals 12 and 1 over 90. And J is 12.90 is equal to 12 and 90 over 10. Do you see the correct answer? Awesome if you said G. That is our correct answer. 12.09 is equal to 12 and 9/100. And that is it for converting fractions and decimals, part 3. If you need a tutor, we offer one-on-one and group tutoring. Again, the link will be in the description box. And we have our 4th grade math and reading workbooks available for purchase in our store. This is Shay Jackson with Hype Math and Reading. I will talk to you later.